Hello everyone, it's Michael and we're going to be doing closing the Stocktake and updating the copy status. Alright, so you've been counting for a while now and it's come to the end of the count and you want to close the Stocktake. Before we close the Stocktake, it's pretty important for you to understand what exactly the Stocktake did. And how did it affect your data? Okay, so let me go and do a search and bring up a book and show you what the Stocktake actually does. So let's go and grab this book here, The Midnight Cat or The Cat Lady. Okay, and I'm going to edit that record. Click the edit button. And that's my catalog record for this particular book. Okay, so when we do a Stocktake, what actually happens to this record and all this information up here? If the truth be told, nothing changes in any of this except for the copy area. Okay, so when you do a Stocktake, what the Stocktake does, it does not delete anything, and that's why the SmartSuite Stocktake is one of the safest things out. And you can do as many Stocktakes, and you don't even have to Stocktake the entire library. You might just do fiction, or you might just do the fiction I'm doing from the A to the D's. That's it. And then in a couple of months' time, I might do the rest or whatever. But all the Stocktake does is work on the copy status. See the copy status of available? All it does, it changes the copy status when you close it off. And not even when you close it off. When you decide as part of the close off, you want to change that copy status from whatever it is to something like lost in 2008 or lost or Stocktake loss or so forth and so on. Okay, so we give you 5 custom statuses that you can use. Because why 5? Now let's say, for argument's sake, you might say closed fiction Stocktake, and another status will be closed non-fiction Stocktake. Another status might be closed in 2017 or closed in 2019. So you can't change, you can't alter the name of these statuses, but you will have 5 statuses which will be called custom 1, custom 2, custom 3, custom 4, custom 5, and you can change the name of those statuses to like lost in 2020. Okay, so that's what the Stocktake does. So all it does is change the status of an item. And our recommendation is don't then go ahead and do a global delete and say, oh, okay, now that I've flagged all my missing items or unaccounted items as lost in 2018, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and delete them all. And you can't do that, obviously. My recommendation is don't. Because Murphy's Law says the day you change all your unaccounted items to lost in 2018, the next day or the next week or over the Christmas when you're cleaning up, tidying up, changing the layout of your library, you're going to find a lot of books behind the shelf, between compactors. All the books came back, parents are leaving, so they come to the school and say, look, I'm sorry, my child had these books at home when we were packing to leave, we found them. So all this material is going to come up. So that is why we don't delete anything, and we don't recommend that you do a global delete and say anything that was lost in 2020, delete it. You might want to consider just making sure that you might delete it in 6 months' time or even 12 months' time. Okay, so the bottom line to remember is the closing of the Stocktake gives you the opportunity to change all the unaccounted items to one of these custom ones. Now, you don't want to call it custom 1, custom 2, custom 3, and so forth and so on. You want to change the description of custom 2 to lost in 2020. So and remember, it's an authority file. So if you want to change anything in an authority file, you just go to the menu, you go down to configuration, and you can go down to the authority file editor. And because it's a copy status, so we go to the authority file editor, and you can go to copy status, and there's your copy status. And this is the one that you want to change, copy to lost in 2020. So all you do is you click on the pencil and you'll go lost in 2020, and you'll go save. Okay, so now when you close the Stocktake and you want to change the status from available, you'll be able to change it to whatever status you want to give it. These two are very important ticks for you to understand, and let me explain it to you. So what will happen is, if I flag the book that I lost it in 2020, and then in circulation time, you check in that book because someone's found it and you do a return, or someone checks it out or whatever, okay, retain the status. You should not be putting that in there, because if that book went out on loan and then came back in, it'll go back to the status of lost in 2020. And you don't. You want it to go back to the status of available. So it'll automatically go to available if you say don't retain the status of the book. Don't retain the status of lost in 2020 on a circulation. Okay, so that's very important. The next thing we want you to think about is this is available. This is very important. So if that's lost in 2020, when someone goes and looks for a book, The Cat in the Hat, and this book comes up and it's lost in 2020, it says mark it as available. So that means that it'll say 1 of 1 is available. But in actual fact, it's not, because the status is lost in 2020. So what you want to do, if it's a Stocktake loss, you might want to say it's not available, so that when it comes up on the OPAC and an item is lost in 2020, what it's going to do is it is going to make sure that the OPAC will say 0 of 1 available. And if people click on 0 of 1 to see when it's due back, it'll say, no, sorry, that was lost in 2020. So those are two little bits of trivia that you need to remember, that before you close anything off, you might want to create a status for it. And then once you create the status of it, you need to give it, okay, the appropriate status over here as how that circulation is going to be dealing with it. Okay, that only applies to circulation. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the Stocktake. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to Stocktake, and that's my Stocktake. Now, you know, with SmartSuite, to your great disappointment, you don't have to close your library to Stocktake, okay? But you can. Now, let's say I'm dealing with the fiction A to 4 books, okay? And there's all my fiction books. And so that will give you the summary of what's happening. So it'll say you had a total of 75 books, and the system has counted 4 of them, and they're missing 71. Now, that wouldn't normally be the normal. The normal would be, if you're looking at all of fiction, it'll say you got 40,000 books. System has counted 380 as an example, and thus 380 books that were circulated during the Stocktake being active. The manual count will be, and I've actually counted 3,400 books, and it says the missing will be 100. So before you make a Stocktake, you need to come in here, and this is the figure that you're looking at. Very important. You need to look at that figure and decide at what number of missing items are you prepared to close. So if it turned around to me and it said I've got a total of 40,000 books and I'm missing 20,000, I would never close a Stocktake. My attitude would be, no, there's something wrong. I need to investigate this a lot further. If you said I've got 40,000 books and I'm missing 1,000, you might still want to say, you know what, I'm going to go and do a little bit more research. But if you said I've got 40,000 books and I'm missing 600, you choose the number that will say, look, if I've lost 600, I've lost 600. Let me just close it off. Okay. So this is the determining factor that's going to determine for you what's an acceptable value. There is no hard and fast rule. You're the queen or king of your collection. You decide what's acceptable. So let's say, for argument's sake, I didn't have 75 items. Let's say I had 4,000 items and I'm missing 71. And I'll go, yeah, that's okay. I'm missing 71. I've lost 71. No big deal. So I'm going to now go and close my Stocktake off. Before you close your Stocktake off, you might want to consider coming into the reports module. And in the reports module, you might want to say the copy status of anything that is available. And I want to filter all the items or the items to be counted. Okay, and then refresh that. So this is your items to be counted. Okay, and you can print it. And of course, if your business manager is on the ball and they don't want you deleting any stuff until you get an electronic copy of it because whatever, you can say, oh no, I won't print it. I will send it to an Excel spreadsheet and save it. Okay, or you can send it to a CSV, which is a comma separated file. You can put it there and save it. Okay, but you can just as easily print it as well. Okay, and that's page 2. Okay, and if it was page 3, you could go page 3, page 4, and so forth and so on. That's all there. Okay, however, you can also turn on and say, actually, I want to have a look at all the items that were on loan, and I want all the statuses of all the on loan items and refresh that. Okay, there's no items on loan. Okay, so you can filter around and play around with this filter, and this relates to the location of quick read shelf and learning support box with the copy status of available or in repair. These are all the books. Okay, now what you can do is, once you filter the books, if you wanted to, you can say all these books, look, I know where they are. They're in 2 boxes. Yes, I haven't counted them, but I know where they are. So you'll put a tick in here that says treat them all as counted. You can do that too. And if you did that, you don't even have to close the Stocktake. You can say the copy status for all these items is, you click in here and you go lost in 2020. And if you click that, all those statuses will now be from available of the status of available to lost in 2020. Okay, and don't even bother about changing the closed status. Not necessary, because you've just fixed it here. However, because of habit and because of doing things in a methodical manner, which a lot of library managers are like, they go, no, I'm going to close the Stocktake. Now, why would you close the Stocktake when I can go and flag all these items as lost in whatever? Okay, why can you do that? If you do not close the Stocktake and you flag them as lost, anyone can come along and change the status and do all sorts of things to it. However, if you click on close the Stocktake, basically that will close everything permanently, and you'll be able to go back and run reports, but you won't be able to change any more data. That's why you'll do that. Now, if I wanted to close the Stocktake, I just click in here and I'll say, all right, I'm closing the Stocktake, and really I want to close it as a Friday. Okay, but I'll close it today. It's the 13th. Okay, and the unaccounted, so all right, we're closing it today, but all the items that you did not count, in other words, the ones that you were missing, what status do you want to give it? When you click in here, it says lost in 2020. That's the status you want to give it. And then it says, all right, are you sure? Do you wish to continue? Okay, and you'll say, yes, I want to continue, and click close and confirm. And now that Stocktake data is closed forever. But you turn and say, oh, I closed the Stocktake and I marked it as lost in 2020. And I would like to have done a report of certain things in here. No big deal. No big deal at all. Okay, so if you accidentally close the Stocktake and that's the end of it, okay, when you go back into the Stocktake, if you try to, let's go back into the Stocktake. I haven't closed it, but if you went in there, what will happen in here will be the end date will be here. And you will not be able to go and now zap in barcodes because the item's closed and that's the end of it. But I want to run some reports, so you can go in there even after the Stocktake. You can still go back into the reports module here, or why not just go to the general report system and the general reports, okay? And then go into the catalog record and you'll say copies by copy status. So you'll click on that and you'll go open and copy status equal to, normally you would choose lost in 2020, but I haven't flagged them, so I haven't got that. So let me just go and choose available. Okay, so there's my copy status equal to that, and I'll just go generate. So the reports module will give the ability to generate a whole bunch of material. Okay, and here it's only saying that there's you can only go by 1,000 records to view them. So there they all are. Okay, and of course if you've done our reports module, you know that you can then go and take this report and add a price on it. You can do and add the author on it or add the location. You can do anything by going into the configuration screen and then go into the template or go into the results data and add more fields of information into the report. So if you want to alter the report, it's not part of the Stocktake training module, but you can have a look at our report training on how to do that, because our reports allow you to change any report or build a report from any other report and add selection criteria, add information, add sort criteria, add all that information. Okay, but from the Stocktake's point of view, okay, I could have told you in 2 minutes how to close the Stocktake. So I'm pretending that you know nothing of all of that. So if you say to me, how do I close a Stocktake? And I go, easy. Click on the menu, go down to Stocktake, click on the Stocktake menu, and then choose which Stocktake if you've got more than one. Just click on it, it'll bring it up. And if you want to close the Stocktake, so go to the reports module, okay, and go, I want to close the Stocktake. You put in the date, I want to close it on this particular date. Anything that's unaccounted, I want to give it a status of lost in 2020. Type in yes and then close it, and that's it. It literally is as simple as that. And we've done that all in a few minutes. So I hope you will go ahead and do Stocktake. Now, don't make the mistake of going into Stocktake and saying, I'm going to create a Stocktake and I'm going to, so I'm going to do a new Stocktake and give it a name and then say that's the start date and then choose and say, I'm going to Stocktake the entire collection. My recommendation, don't do that. Go and do a Stocktake of a very small collection or a subset of the collection and go from start to creating it, counting it, closing it. And if you only do that for, say, picture books, if that's your smallest part of the collection, or teacher's reference, if that's your smallest part of the collection, just do it for that. And if you've gone through doing it for about 50 books, it doesn't matter if you make an error or a mistake or whatever, because it doesn't delete anything. So you can say, yeah, now that I know how to do it, I'm going to do a bigger Stocktake, or I'm going to break up my entire collection into 6 different areas, and then go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, what about the books? All these books. So let's go back into catalog. Okay. And let's grab this particular record, the Lady Cat. Now I have gone and closed the Stocktake. I've flagged this as lost in 2020. So in the copy status, instead of available, it'll be lost in 2020. This is what it would look like. Okay. Yeah, just say lost in 2020. Now it's 6 months after the Stocktake. And you go, I want to delete anything with a copy status of lost in 2020, because it's 6 months. If books were going to come back, they're going to come back, but I don't want them sitting on the system, because I don't want someone doing a search and getting up the cat lady saying 01 available, and they're waiting for it to come back. In actual fact, it's never going to come back because it's lost. So if you want to delete material from the Stocktake, and my recommendation, do it probably about 6 months at least after the Stocktake. Go to the configuration page, okay, and go down to the global functions. And in the global functions area, you can say, I want to go and delete catalog records, delete catalog, delete by copy status. So you click in here and go open, and then you'll say a copy status of lost in 2020. And then you'll go search. And of course, all the items will come up. You'll put a tick, and I'll put a tick through all that list. So let me pretend that I'm not doing a copy status of lost in 2020. So let me go and exit back to the reports menu. Okay, sorry, delete menu. Okay, show you how this works. Global functions. And I'm going to delete the catalog. I'm going to delete it by copy status. Okay, now I'm just going to show you how to select. Please don't do this. I'm just showing you how to select. Okay. And it's no use selecting delete lost in 2020 because I don't have anything there. But I want to choose the available just to show you what the list looks like. And I go search. Okay. And there's pages and pages, and I can go load more and load more and load more. Now what I can do is I can put a tick in here. Okay. And I can go delete copies only, and then go delete. Okay. So delete the selected items. And it'll delete everything that's been selected there. Okay. And that's how you delete everything with a copy status of lost in 2020. Thank you very much. If you have any queries, give us a call, or best go into here, go into mailbox, and put in a support ticket, and go create a ticket. And in here is, can you please do a YouTube live event on, tell us what you want, and we'll do another event like this based on whatever topic you want on the entire SmartSuite or TV for Education system. It costs you nothing, and you can have as many events as you like. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present closing of the Stocktake.